Good evening and welcome back to Coffee, Chaos, and Coated Nails. I have this really great cup I'm using tonight. If you just watched my last video, then you would have seen it as well. Tonight I have tea in the coffee cup simply because of the time of night. I wanted something that helped me kind of feel a little bit more sleepy versus wide awake with coffee. I also have this really cool candle, if you can listen. I don't know if you can pick it up, but you can hear it. It's one of those wood ones, so you can kind of hear it burning. It sort of crackles. So kind of cool. I love those. So I'll put my coffee or my tea cup right there, my coffee cup with tea in it. Anyways, I love this cup. There's a story behind it that I will share with you in a little bit. I did get these really cool new, they're like microfiber cloths, and I got them just so I can have a little space, a workspace. I also, I bought a lot of them, so I have some for cleaning that I can use, and then, so I'm able to kind of keep them separate, so then I don't kind of cross-contaminate. So like the ones that I would use for cleaning or wiping down the counters in the kitchen, for instance, would be separate from the ones that I'm setting up for my nails. So anyways, all right, so this week I'm going to go ahead and do one last winter theme. I went back and forth between winter theme and going Valentine's, and I just really think that I'm going to go ahead and do one last week of winter. Again, just a reminder that oftentimes this guy here came as the middle finger on the in the package, but it just doesn't fit that way for me. So I have to switch them around. You'd be able to do whatever works for you the best. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started. I just took off my nail polish a little bit ago. And so at this point, I'm going to go ahead. I washed my hands. I had put some lotion on. I do know nail polish remover makes my hands really dry. And so it's just one of those things that you just can't really avoid. I don't really know how to make it any better. It's kind of a necessary evil. If you have any ideas or tricks, definitely let me know. But it's just sort of what happens, I guess. It's part of the process. So I always use lotion and then let it dry, and then I go ahead and wash my hands, because you can't have lotion on your nails. That oil is going to make the nail wrap not stick as well as it could have. All right, so again, I just washed my hands, and you can kind of see that dirt that you don't really see from your eye, but it just wipes right off. So that's always kind of fascinating and sort of gross to me. All right, so I do use this bonder. Helps kind of keep the nail wrap on the nail. So, all right, so in my last video, I was talking about how cold it has been this week, and I'm definitely dreaming of warmer temps. I like winter and I like the cold temps, but it did get to be a little much. I don't know, the weather people called school basically 4 days early. They basically said parents prepare, teachers and school staff are preparing. Essentially there's no way school can happen just because of how cold it's going to be. And I definitely think they were right in calling it. It was just really crazy to me that they were able to call it so quickly. But they were right. It was definitely really cold. So, all right, so I'm trying to, trying to get a better angle. There we go. Trying to work on that from last week, better angle so you can see everything as I'm doing the nail. All right, so as I'm thinking about warmer weather, one thing that kind of always comes to my mind is what I want to do with the family. during the warmer months. And so one of the things that we really love doing is we do love going on vacations as a family, and there have been times when we're not able to go on big family trips, and it looks a little bit different. It looks more modest and maybe local, and that is those are some of the best times we've had. And then there's also times when we're able to kind of get out and get away, and kind of have that chance to either get on, a plane or to drive somewhere a little bit farther away. And so it just really depends on kind of where we're at for the year. This year's been really tough. I know it's been tough for a lot of us. And so I think we are still very hopeful that we can do something this summer. And so I'm kind of excited in this mode of just trying to picture and plan where we want to go and what we want to do. Last summer we went on a cruise. We brought our son on it was a few-day cruise. It wasn't extremely long at all. I think it was like 3 days, so it was really short. But I thought it would be great for him just to kind of explore and, have fun. And it was really a lot of fun. And he enjoyed being able to get off the ship and see different cultures and especially different cities and different countries that, otherwise we would never get to see. And so we had a really fun time. So I'm looking into the possibility of another cruise. We'll have to see. I love cruising, and I think one of the reasons why is because we're able to go and see different areas that we would never get to see, but then at the same time we're able to get right back on the ship. And so it's kind of like you have kind of the best of both worlds. So I love going and seeing new places, and then meeting new people and having a lot of fun, but then also being able to go back into all of our items and our the different consistency, like the different areas of the ship that's consistent from day to day. Sometimes when we would travel before we had our child, we would kind of go from hotel to hotel or city to city, and then it just kind of felt like we were always on the go. Whereas I kind of feel like with cruising, you go from city to city or country to country, I should say. But since the cruise ship, you're always on the cruise ship, you sort of feel like you're consistent with that. And so it's nice. You get to go back to your favorite, bar or favorite restaurant or favorite place to go listen to music. And so it kind of becomes your home for however long you're gone. And that was what I found really cool. And it's nice you get to kind of meet and then sort of keep that connection going with whoever you meet, friends, or, if you meet other couples or, people with kids, whatever the case may be, then you can kind of keep that friendship going for a couple, a week or however long it is, versus just kind of chatting with somebody for a couple hours and then never seeing them again. So it's definitely fun. Cruising, I think, kind of gets sorry about that. I just realized that was out of the picture. I'm still working on making sure the nail's always in the picture. So I just interrupted myself because I looked down into the camera and was horrified that I was missing half the nail. So I apologize. I think cruising was fun and not something, I don't know if it always gets a good rap. I think sometimes people kind of give it a bad rap. simply because, I don't know, I used to always think it was something that like really, it's going to sound bad, but like really old people did. And I guess maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm getting really old so now I love it, but that's not true. And I know that's not true because there's plenty of young people on cruises and families. Honestly, I think it's one of the best ways to travel. That's my opinion, though. I know there's probably, obviously, for every time I share that opinion, a million people out there that are like, absolutely not. So anyways, yeah. All right, so we are one nail down. So yeah. So a couple years ago, the story behind this cup is, I think you're kind of notice a theme as we go along this journey here of doing nails is, I think I had mentioned it, see how that came apart like that? It's because of the cold. I don't keep the house super warm. I think it's like 65 right now, 66. So some of you are probably like, she's nuts. But I don't keep it extremely warm because I'm getting sick when it was super warm. So we just kind of layer up, and then at nighttime, we have these big blankets, and then during the day, it can go up to like 60, 68 or 69, depending on what we need. I definitely think I'd mentioned that in one of the first videos, but so one of the things that happens is the nail wraps, just when it's really cold outside, it was like negative, you guys, it was like negative, it felt like negative 52, I think, on Friday morning at like 4 in the morning. So that's what I'm talking about. When it's really cold, it's hard to stay. Now, right now, doesn't feel like that. I think right now it feels, I think I saw that tomorrow morning it's going to feel like negative 25. So nowhere near negative 50, still enough to make a lot of people cringe. So anyways, back to what I was saying is one of the reasons why I got so involved in the nails, it was right around COVID time. I couldn't keep going to a nail salon. They were shut down. And the second thing was because I loved how budget friendly they were. Excuse me. And I loved how I could get different designs. I just felt like they were super cute and I could have different designs. And it was one of those things where I still felt like my nails looked really nice. And there was nothing, it looked like they were nice. I still got compliments. It didn't look like I just slapped nail polish on there because that's how I felt like it was going to look. But I realized like the patterns and stuff made it look really nice and people were complimenting them. And not that I need compliments, but I think the compliments made me feel like, okay, I can do this. Like it does look nice and it is saving me a lot of money. And so one of the things I started doing is kind of saving that money and being able to use that toward things like vacations. And again, you might be like, how can that equal vacation? Well, I think it was just one saving technique. Another, you have to kind of, anything you can do to save pennies here or there, right? Okay, so there's 2 nails. I'm actually going to go ahead and turn on a different light. There we go. So just to kind of show you, make it a little bit lighter. So when COVID first happened and everything had shut down, you couldn't go get your nails. And so I started practicing how to do these. And then I realized for me, it took a lot of practice. And I just refused to not become okay at it. I don't think I'm an expert by any means, but I just kept practicing. And I think over time I got a little bit more confident, a little bit better. And then, yeah, I just, every week, just kept practicing. So, that one's a little crooked. Let's see. There we go. But, so yeah. Anyways, the story behind this cup is my son, so we lived really close to California. For some time, we lived actually in southern Nevada, and we promised our son, that we would go to Disneyland. He was right around the age when everybody, when he wanted to go to Disneyland, and it was cool, and he wanted to have that experience, and we wanted to have that experience, but of course it was something that was expensive, and I don't know, I thought we could save some money by living, kind of near it, so we could just go and maybe honestly make a really big long day out of it, or spend the night, one night. And so life kind of happened, and we had to move to where we live now, and so we kind of had to pack up and go. And I remember thinking that we were not going to be able to go like I planned, and I was really sad. But once we sold our house, we put the equity into a new down payment for the house we're in currently, and we just set a little bit aside so we could go to Disney. And so we actually stayed at, I can't remember the name of the hotel. If anybody's really interested, you could put it in the comments, and then I'll look it up where we stayed. It was really great. We just shuttled in. It wasn't bad at all. They offered a shuttle in, and then oopsies. So we stayed at that shuttle, or we stayed at a hotel, and then they shuttled us in, and then we were able to go to Disneyland. Then we went to California Adventure the next day, and then we went back to Disneyland for a third day. But we had a park hopper, so you could go back and forth. So what I loved so much is I felt like, what I thought was so amazing is that I felt like we were able to experience and be able to do this magical trip. And although it was something that I don't think we would ever be able to normally do, we found the best way to be able to do it. And we went on a budget. And so we made sure that we didn't spend a ton of money. Like, we made sure that we had snacks in the hotel, and, we ate at the hotel before we left, and we did eat in the park. I don't want to be that parent that never ever has their kid eat in the park, but so we had some food things that we knew our son would want, and we wanted to try, but like everybody was saying, you gotta try, like, I think it was the Dole Whip with the ice cream. That was really good. And then people were saying, like, the churros, those are really good, I have to admit. So there's a couple things we just had to try, but besides that, we just kind of had fun for, a couple days were a lot of fun, and it was really great. We did have to buy plane tickets and fly out, though, because we had already moved, which is why it worked out that we were able to, by the grace of everything working out, able to use the equity to the house to be able to do it. So I was able to get this cup there. So very long story. Just to let you know that I was able to get this cup. And as soon as I saw it, it's really not me. I'm not a huge, I like Disney, but I think I'm a huge Disney fan, and I love people who are, but it's just not something that, it's just not me. And so, but as soon as I saw it, I'm like, oh, that's going to age really well. I love that. I think it represents a really fun time. And so I collect coffee cups when we go places. And so I try not to have like a million coffee cups. I try to be really selective in the coffee cups I get and make sure they're meaningful. And so, so I picked that one. But, all right, so I don't know if you can tell, but there's a little piece of the nail that was starting to come off. And so I'm kind of just really warming this one up. This is the real deal, and this is going to take longer than I had anticipated, and so you're kind of just along for the ride. But I had thought it would go quicker to do this set, but because I think of how cold it is, and, you know, I understand that I don't have the temperature real high, but I guess it makes them a little brittle. And so, anyways, there we go. That one came off much easier. I still really love this set. Look at how cute that is, that little gnome. Super cute. So what I did is I just placed it on and I put on the nail polish cover, and it's super cute. And again, that's what I wanted to, if I can express anything, it's that you lose nothing by trying to get the nails to stick. You literally lose nothing. You try, and if it doesn't work, then you keep trying, right? And for me, it's kind of like sourdough. The first couple loaves I made were absolutely horrible. They didn't look good at all, and so I just kind of kept trying until they finally look good. So this one has a ripple, so I'm going to try to work this ripple out. This happens quite a bit, especially when you're new and you're beginning. I think for me, it's just kind of happening again because it's super cold outside. But I just take this rubber cuticle pusher. I think that's what it is. It probably has a way fancier name than that, but that's what I call it. And then again, I'm just trying to work it out gently. So, and just kind of smooth out the edges. As soon as I'm done with this hand, I'm taking this away. This was a really bad idea. But again, I tried. I'm just going to go ahead. I usually have this top here that I use. It's like I have I bought I think it's a photo box for all of my nail wraps. I know you can buy like a nail wrap, almost like looks like a photo album maybe, and you can have them all displayed and they look so cool. I just bought like a photo box so I could kind of like lay them in order, have them kind of stand up so I can go through and quickly look. And then I also that way can put my plan was to be able to put like my nail polish, the top coats and stuff. Well, I ended up buying so many nail wraps that they wouldn't fit. So, but I've been using what I have instead of continuing to buy more nail wraps, except for I just placed an order today. So, but yeah, that's how I store mine. I'm sure there's more official ways, but I think it's fine how I do it. I met somebody once who had them all like out, and you can, she could look at them at any time to see the ones you wanted to use. And I just kind of keep mine stored away, and then I can take them out when I want to pick the ones I want to use. But then that way they're kind of away for the week. I don't have like a room that I do my nails in. I tend to just kind of sit at the table. I used to sit at the table so I could watch one of my shows. Now I sit down here so then I can chat with you. So still, I found very relaxing last week. I really thought maybe talking the entire time I was going to feel like It wasn't as relaxing as it normally was, but it was great. So anyways, all right. So this nail has been saved. Again, somebody once asked me, how do you save it? Because once it starts to ripple, I just kind of panic and then I don't really know how to save it. And I think it's just that idea of you don't fail for trying. You just got to keep trying to, you learn tricks as you go. So if you are brand new to this, or you did buy a nail set from last week to try it with me as we do it, you just kind of have to do your best. All right? Just be gentle, and then just kind of keep making sure that you are smoothing out those edges. If you are going to get any tool, I definitely think you need a big one of these nail files. This kind of comes with it sometimes. I think the little ones, maybe are great in theory, but they do not work. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this microfiber cloth right now because it's making me want to get mad, making me want to get angry. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that over there. All right. So our last one, the last nail, I'm going to go ahead then and show you how I'm putting this one on. I did tell you last week that I was going to kind of show you a step-by-step. So, all right. So if you bought this particular brand and you're doing it with me, first of all, I would just go ahead and hold it in your finger in your fingers for like 30 seconds. Don't do what I just did. I just held it literally on that. So again, just kind of hold it in there for like 30 seconds. Just kind of warm it up a little bit. So, and then I'll show you step by step. All right, so you're going to go ahead and peel this top layer off. I think the first step is if you start to peel here, once you peel the plastic off, if you start to peel here, this one's coming off clean. But if you start to peel and you're starting to peel like the little paper part in the back, remember last week my little trick was to kind of just gently go like this until you can separate it. Okay, so you're going to peel the nail off, the wrap just like that. You're going to go ahead and place the other one, the nail wrap, down. And then you're going to take the nail wrap at the top. Some people will cut the nail wrap in half and use it on both fingers. I am not that talented. I feel like that's asking a lot for me to be able to do and not kind of like smudge it up. All right, so you're going to go ahead and get as close as you need to with your face. Your eyes as close as you need to, and you are going to, before you set it down, you're just going to kind of hover over. The first thing you want to do is just make sure, again, this little guy here is phenomenal. You just want to make sure that's pushed all the way back. I naturally have cuticles that they don't really grow a lot of skin there, I guess, but all right, so you want to go ahead and line this up. You do not want to set the nail wrap on the skin. So even right here, you can see that little gap there, and that's okay. So the first thing you want to do is kind of set it on the nail and make sure if it's if it's straight, and if it looks like it's going to fit, then you would just kind of want to push to get a base going there. And then the first thing I do is just kind of grab the side and then just sort of take my hand and gently pull to the edge of your finger. I don't pull hard, just enough to make sure it's straightened. And again, you just kind of want to, the whole time, you just want to make sure that you are just using your finger to push the edges. Now right here, you've got both edges tight, and then you're getting this little gap here, so I'll show you this little bubble here, so I'll show you how to fix that. So this is where I take this cuticle pusher and, watch, somebody's going to tell me that's not what it is, but that's what I'm calling it for now until somebody corrects me. But anyways, this is where I just kind of rub it along the edges and make sure again that if there's any bubbles that I'm able to kind of catch them, because any of those bubbles are going to help the wrap come unsecure from your nail. All right, so you're going to just kind of gently push, and at the same time, you're going to pull up here. So as I push, you can kind of see that I'm helping to sort of pull. I'm not pulling up, I'm kind of pulling out. So again, as I'm pushing, I'm sort of pulling out. So that's helping to make sure that as I'm pushing down with my finger, there's no ripples. Will you get a ripple once in a while? Yep. It just kind of is what it is. I definitely got more ripples in the beginning, and then it's just more practice, right? I just kind of got better as I went along. It probably took me the first several nail applications. So if you get them in the very beginning, do not feel bad. If you get them after 2 years, don't feel bad. It is what it is. And then I start to kind of push down. So again, you're kind of wrapping it around all the way down. All right. And then when you look, you should see it is wrapped around, and then that is where you are going to take your nail file and push downward. You may have seen me go like this as well, and when I'm doing that, I am pushing the nail file underneath your nail. So you will notice that it is going to break easily. If it doesn't break easily like that, then that tells you that you need to keep filing. So this one broke easily. Right here, if you look on the edge though, I can see that it's still a little, it's not quite secure. So I'm going to take my nail file and just kind of run it underneath the nail to make sure that there's no extra nail wrap sticking out. All right. There you go. And then I automatically or immediately put on the top coat. It's insta-dry, so it still takes a handful of seconds, but way quicker than if you were to use like traditional nail polish, especially from when I was a kid. It used to take forever. This little guy here is not quite, he keeps feeling sticky like on the edges, so I'm not sure what is going on with this one. See, so sometimes if I can feel like something a little sticky on the edges, I just kind of gently run it around. And it just sort of feels like if something's kind of sticking. You know when you have nail polish on your hands and then you like bump something, you're like, oop. You can kind of feel, it doesn't quite feel like it's smooth. It kind of feels like clunky or something. That's how this one's feeling. So again, it looks good. It feels dry. It's just, I don't know, maybe there's some extra. I think it's right through here. So, all right. So when I look at my time, right, we are at 34 minutes, so we got to try to hustle on this second set. So, all right, so this is the first set, the first hand, I should say, looking pretty cute. Let's go ahead and get this second set underway. All right, I'm trying to get these picked up. All right, let's see here. Sorry. Okay. All right. So, man, I was trying really, really hard to make it to the store this weekend to buy groceries, but for whatever reason, I just couldn't make it. There's a lot going on right now outside in the world, and so I have found that it is just kind of it's a struggle. It was a struggle for me today to leave the house. We usually get up in the morning, and I didn't walk this morning. I didn't work out. I didn't read today. Usually I read a lot for self-care on the weekends. So today was kind of a rough day. I'm kind of ending the weekend thinking like I didn't quite take care of myself. And I know you're probably like, listen, how many weekends do we either go back to work or continue with our duties, and we're not rested, or we're not able to say that we had a wonderful rested weekend, and that's just kind of normal, right? And it is. I just really try to make sure, if I can, to try and have like a good weekend where I at least can read a little bit or feel a little bit more rested. But I could not get it done. I did meal prep today though, which I think was good. It was really good. I feel like I did get that done, but I could not for the life of me get time to read. So hopefully when I'm done here, I think I'm going to spend a little bit of time reading. All right, so the famous right hand is always tricky. I remember when I first started, I think I told you guys that trick last week, how you're supposed to start with your non-dominant hand. And I don't do it because I always want to see how beautiful the set looks. And then it's always a disaster. So, I mean, not a disaster, but it's always one of those things where when the right hand comes, I'm just really patient, I should say. Maybe my patience is a disaster, but yeah. So anyways, so I'm kind of going back into the grind, feeling as though I'm tired and not quite ready for the week. So what are some of the things you do to feel as though you are ready for the week? What are some of the things that you do to make yourself feel like, even though you are not ready for the week, or you're not, rested, or you feel as though you are drained, how do you get through the week and feel as though you are feeling good? I'd love to have an idea and love to hear what you do. Typically I need to work out. And so I knew this morning, by not going to work out, that it was not going to help me in the long run. It helped me this morning for a little bit. I was able to get my coffee quicker, but it did not help me, I don't think, in the long run. And I knew that. I just couldn't get it together. And of course I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll read, I will spend some time reflecting, and it just didn't happen. Last week it was really busy. My dad was coming down, and while he was visiting, his car broke down on one of the really cold days. And so we kept his car, and then we had somebody service his car, and then he took our car back to his house, which was great. but it just made it for a long week, and then he needed to come get the car today. And so, so it was a long drive for him, and it just made it for a long week, a long day. But, so yeah, we also, hold on, I gotta concentrate here. We found a really great mobile mechanic who comes to the house. He's a really great guy. I think he's just kind of starting out, and so he's been really good to us. He's been really kind, and he's definitely been good to work with so far. And so we'll see. We kind of take a job at a time. But yeah, so far so good. But yeah, so anyways, my dad came down and switched the cars today. So he brought our car back, and then took his car back to his town. It's a couple hours away. So I think that probably added to it. So as a result, we did not go to church. And going to church is one of those things for me that kind of helps my mental health. When I'm struggling and when I'm feeling extra anxious, even if I'm wanting to stay home and not do anything, I find that after church, I feel better. I feel more calm and more like myself. And it's just, I think, the idea of, getting out and doing something that I know is, good for me. And so today, knowing that I was staying home and we were waiting for the mechanic to finish the job, it's like a 9-hour job. And then, so he started yesterday. So he had to finish it today. And then my dad was coming, and just not being in a good place, we decided to listen online. And as much as I tell myself, that's, listening online is better than not going, it's not the same. And I know it's not the same. And so I had a real honest conversation with myself and then with my child, and we need to make sure that we're going. So next week for sure we're going to go back and make sure that we continue doing what we know is good for us. So anyways, that was my day. And again, I'm not trying to make it religious at all. It's just one of those things where I feel like I knew what I needed to do, and I just could not make myself do it today. So tomorrow's a new day, and a new week actually. And so I'm really hopeful, but yeah, today I think I just needed a day. So yeah. Oh, okay, here we go. Let's get this one on. That one fit perfectly. That was crazy. I don't even have to pull that one. Every once in a while, you'll see them go on perfectly, and you don't have to pull anything. So awesome. Let's see. Yeah, that one went on perfectly. No ripples or anything. So yeah. So see, that was my ice maker just scared me. All right, so see, I'm going right back to maybe it's because of the cold, and maybe it's because I'm thinking of, with me not feeling, I'm feeling kind of out of sorts. I go right back to kind of thinking of summer and summer plans. What are some of your favorite summer activities? I feel like every year as a parent, I have 50 things I need to do or I want to do with my kid. And then half of it I don't get done. And so I end up feeling at the end of it like I missed out and didn't do half of what I wanted to do. And so I can write notes, I can plan, and then it still doesn't end up how I wanted it to end up. So anyways, do you have any tried and true methods that you can make it, that you can share, that you can let me know, like, how do you get everything done? Do you pick like the top 10 things that you want to achieve? What do you do? And I'm thinking of things like I'm thinking of things from when I was a kid. Like I want to try to go to a baseball game, or I want to have a picnic, or I want to spend the night, outside at nighttime and have a campfire and then like roast marshmallows and have s'mores and all those different things that I have these great memories of. And sometimes I remind myself that, as great as it is to have all these memories, maybe like it's okay to have other memories too for, your child. You don't have to have just the same memories you have as a child. So I'm trying to get out of the same habit of just making sure that we relive my best memories, because I'm just confident that that's going to be, the best memories for my child. I hope that makes sense. So we used to always go to this amusement park when I was a child, and we'd always go toward the end of the summer. And it was like my favorite thing to do. This nails I feel like it's good. We used to always go to this amusement park toward the end of the summer. And I loved it. I had such a fun time. And it was like the highlight of my summer. We lived by like a baseball field. And like the bars in our town would have like leagues, softball leagues, adult leagues. And my mom would walk us down, or ride our bikes, I should say. And she would let us bring like garbage bags. And we could go like the next day before the trash was emptied, and we could go grab she let us like put gloves on, and we could go grab the cans. A lot of times it was like either soda cans or beer cans. Hear me out before some people are like, ew. The thing was, this was the 90s. So everybody did, things that people did back then, or what we did back then. Now, maybe kind of like people might think, ew. Second of all, if people think ew now, I don't know. I feel like sometimes the old ways are for sure better. And it was a way to make some money. It was fun. It was great. I used to take all the cans I could find, and then I would cash that money in. We would save all the cans. Ugh, they would get so sticky and gross in the bag. And then I would just get home, and sometimes I would rinse them out. And then other times I would just fill up garbage bags full of all the cans we could get. And then we would bring them to the recycling center. And you could cash in see how that wasn't ready? I tried pulling and it didn't come off easy. So I kind of just keep going here. And then we would turn them in, and I would get some money, and it might only be like a couple bucks each time, but I would save that money all summer long. So then when it was time to go to my amusement park, I was able to have a little spending money. And so my mom would always buy our tickets into the park, but we lived on an extreme budget, and so we were not able to get a lot of other things. And so this way I could have a little spending money, and I loved it. I loved being able to do this. And so it was always the highlight of the entire summer as far as I was concerned. And unfortunately, it was always the end of the summer when we would go. And so every year I knew exactly what I was looking forward to doing. that, and then we would always go to the Mall of America, and then the State Fair toward the end of the summer as well. So those are the big highlights for me. So yeah, obviously that's something like last year my kid wanted to have a lemonade stand, and I thought that was so cool. And so we did. We had a lemonade stand, and I remember having a lemonade stand when I was a kid. It was not successful at all. I don't think anybody stopped. This time quite a few people actually stopped. He made a big sign, had his friends helping. I think he might have sold a couple donuts. Definitely had, neighborhood support. I think it probably helps that you can like post on social media, and I was able to put in the community page, come support, and then I put his name and then his friends' names. They try to earn some money and have some fun. And so, but let me tell you, the problem with lemonade stands is what I didn't realize, and my mom did the same thing for us, is that she foot the bill when we wanted to have a lemonade stand, and we did the same thing for our son this year. Well, he got so excited during the lemonade stand to tell us that they got a sale. I had just gone inside for just like a second. Otherwise I was like kind of in the background in the garage just to make sure everything was good. But he got so excited, he slammed the door open and put a hole in the wall. And so it ended up being like a really expensive lemonade stand. Because we bought one of those patches to put like over the wall and we didn't do it right. So now we actually have to like hire somebody to come do it. My husband and I are not house handy people at all, and so every time I walk by I just shake my head. Maybe one time I'll show you the patch, and every time that he would fix it and I would fix it, we thought it looked great, and then you'd paint it and it would dry and you could see the bumps every time. And so I feel like this lemonade stand actually became really expensive, and it's kind of gone down in history because I'm pretty sure that bump on the wall will be there for sure until we can hire a professional, which just seems really ridiculous. Like, we should be able to do it, but they don't make those patches as easy as they try to tell you they do. But anyways, yeah, so my mom, when we were a kid, she used to foot the bill as well. And so I think for a kid, it's really fun, a lemonade stand. But for the parent, I just want my kid to be, successful at it and to have like a lot of sales. And I have to remind myself that like his cars drove by and didn't stop, it was okay. Because when they drive by and they didn't stop, I think, what is like these poor little babies? They're just trying to sell some lemonade. Like, how are you not stopping? And then I remember my husband telling me like maybe they don't like lemonade. And I was like, who doesn't like lemonade? But it's definitely a thing. So, all right, look, we are at 53 minutes. So we shaved off quite a bit of time from last week. So I'm going to go ahead and go through one last time for the top coat, and then we will call it a week. So right now, if you are doing your nails with me, or if you are watching, you don't have to do a second coat. There are times I do a second coat just to try to smooth out any imperfections. But again, you don't have to do that. There are plenty of times I don't do a second coat for sure. I'm going to go through and then I'll use my little tool to make sure that I've got all of the edges So yeah, I don't know. I thought this was a really cute set. One last winter set. We're gonna go full blown into Valentine's. We have some cute sets. You guys should see all of the really cute sets that they have for for summer. There's really cute sets. There's really cute sets for Halloween as well, and then of course the holidays have really cute sets. I think every holiday does really with this company, but I love the sets, and because they're so cheap, I feel like I can change them if I want before the week is over. So if you do see me come sooner than a week, it's just because I am changing them sooner. I just sometimes I'm like, you know what, I need a little week pick me up, or I want something that matches the outfit, and I feel like maybe what I picked doesn't quite match. And because it's so cheap, I can go ahead and just change it up. All right, so here we go. The dreaded right hand. I feel like I've gotten better. You guys should have seen the first time I did it. It was a disaster. It's all over. All right. So whether you are thinking about fun things for this summer, and I think maybe it's just on my brain because it's been a hard time. It's been a lot going on in Minnesota lately, and I'm not talking about that right now on this channel. There's been a lot. And so whether you are thinking about what you want to do for the summer, and I think maybe just thinking about the warmth a little bit, and the sun is kind of where my mind is at, or you are thinking about where you want to go because you're starting to plan. Kids go off to camp in the summer. You're just kind of thinking about some time off with your kids. Or if you don't have kids, you're kind of thinking about just what you want to do for yourself in the summer, no matter what it is. I think sometimes when we have these hard moments, or we have these, winter blues, or, whatever you want to call them, I think it's important to, at least I always tell my son, it is important to be excited, and it is important to, live in that moment of that fun time in the summer, because the reality is that we want to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves, and whether it's doing your nails, or it's, having some coffee or having some tea, whatever the case may be, make sure that you're spending some time for yourself. Make sure that you are taking care of yourself, and you are being able to just kind of sit for a little bit and kind of reflect and give yourself some time. So, all right, I will check back in next week when we take off this set. If I check in a little bit early, it is just because I am so excited to put on the Valentine's nails that I could not wait. But be sure to look for the next video. We will take off the nails, and then we'll put on some Valentine's nails. So go ahead and head over to, excuse me, you can either check out your local store where you would buy, toiletries, things like that, and see if they have nail wraps that you can purchase. Otherwise, the brand that I go for is Lily and Fox. I do love Color Street as well. Lily and Fox has a number of Valentine's wraps out that are just super cute right now. And so why don't you go ahead, if you've been thinking about it, pick up a set. We can do them together at the same time. And then that way you can try them. You can pause the video. You can do whatever you want to do. You can do a nail at a time with me, and see that it's not hard. It might take a little bit of work, might take some practice, for sure some practice. But it's something that everybody can do. And then you too can also have your nails done and feel good about yourself, and do it for a fraction of the price of going to a nail salon. All right, have a great night. Have a great week. I'll see you next week. Bye.